For more information on the Voice of San Joaquin, go to tvosj.org. For more information on the Voice of San Joaquin, go to tvosj.org. Welcome to Tips and Tells. Here's your guest host, Roy Morales.
Hi, as you can tell by looking at me, I'm not Dr. Julie Damron Brown. She was ill today, and so anyway, I was going to be her co-host. So today I get a chance to host her show. And we have an exciting show today, and it's all going to be about Lions All-Star Football. And there's so much to cover. We're glad to have some great guests today. One of the guests that I have sitting to my right is the North Squad coach, and that's Coach Jason McCloskey. McCloskey,
McCloskey, yeah.
McCloskey.
McCloskey, yeah.
And they call him Coach Mac. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
They
Me and
call
several other thousand high school
names.
coaches that have Coach Mac. Yeah.
Exactly. And then so I have him on the coaching end, and then I have on the player end, I have a player from Lincoln High School. And that is Grant Stevenson. Grant Stevenson from Lincoln High School.
How you doing, guys?
All right, right on, man. You got to put on your game face, huh?
Yes, sir.
And we have the pleasure of having Grant's. We have a parent with us today, and that's Julie Stevenson, and she's joining us, so she'll be able to give us a little insight as far as what this has meant to her family. You know, her family in general, and there's a real pride involved in being involved in this game, and really the entire family experiences that pride. My name is Lion Roy Morales. I'm a Lion with the Stockton Host Lions Club, which is a local club here in town. Actually, we've been here for a long time serving the community. In 2020, we will have served in this community for 100 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's amazing.
Not quite as old as our game, but I mean, our game's a little shorter life. Also, I am on the Lions All-Star Football Game Committee. I share the responsibilities of being the North coordinator with my comrade, Stag High football coach Don Norton. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to give a little bit of history of this game. Because there's so much to it, you know. It's just not a football game. It's an all-star game, but there's so much more dynamics in this game, and you're going to be able to feel the dynamics on both the coach player, and parent end in this game. So. First thing that I'll do is I want to give you, I thought we would start off with just a little brief history, because our audience out there, this is all on Facebook, so
yes.
I mean anybody can watch this, you know.
Exactly.
So anyway, I thought that the little bit of history of the game would be real important. First of all, I want to say that there were three legendary head football coaches that actually came up with this idea. I think there was a fourth involved too, but I can't get the specifics on that. But the coaches that were involved with putting this game together were all legendary coaches. The first one was Bob Matos. Bob Matos was a legendary head football coach at Stag High School, and then he went on to coach at Sac State, and he left a tremendous reputation behind as being an outstanding football coach and gentleman. And then there was another gentleman from Turlock. His name is Les Ratzliff, and he was a long-time head football coach at Turlock High, and later becoming the athletic director. And I don't know how many years he was at the high school, but it was a very, very long time. He was very instrumental in putting this game together as well. And then the last coach who is still involved in the game, and that is Coach Wayne Schneider from Tracy High School, legendary head football coach. Matter of fact, Coach, I don't know if you know what his record is, but it's somewhere like around 250 wins and maybe about 48 losses.
Wow.
That's a great
Are
career.
you are you right on his tail?
Oh yeah, right there. Yeah, just give me another 30 years of
There you
9,
go.
10 win
You'll be
seasons.
there. You'll be there. So anyway, that's just a little bit of the framework of these guys coming up with this idea. So what happened was these coaches, plus there was another coach involved, and from what I understand, that was legendary coach Coach Charles Washington from Edison High School. And so basically they came together with this idea of hosting a Central California all-star football game for seniors. And so they talked about this, they kind of worked out some details, and then they took it to the Lions leadership. And at that time, I know that one of the Lions that was involved, his name was George Fields, and the others that also served in the leadership. And so they discussed this opportunity for our district, because this is a district event, which encompasses 8 counties, and there's 55 clubs within those 8 counties. And so they discussed this, and they took it to our district. They took it to our district event, and they presented this idea of hosting a Lions All-Star football game for the youth. And so they went to a convention in 1973 in Santa Cruz. They presented the idea, and the idea was approved. Everyone was excited about reaching out to the youth in this fashion. So basically what happened was in 1974, we had our inaugural game in 1974. And just as a note, I graduated in 1974. So 3 of the players that I graduated with actually played in this game. And I'm going to give them a plug because we're St. Mary's guys. I went to St. Mary's High School here in Stockton. And it was Bob Rusk, Ronnie Dos Reyes, and and Mike Williams. And if you look up a little information on Mike Williams was an outstanding quarterback. Actually, there was 2 great quarterbacks in '74, but Mike Williams is a great quarterback. He went on to play at Davis, and he actually followed a couple of professional quarterbacks. So he was kind of like second row, but he was an outstanding quarterback. And so what happened was we played that game. We always played that game at the University of Pacific, So '74, we had our first game. We drew 8,000 fans.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Is that amazing? Have you ever played in front of 8,000 fans?
Nope, never.
No.
You wish to, though, huh?
Yeah.
So anyway, we had a great kickoff. I mean, the community came together and supported this game, Just as a footnote, our second game, we drew 10,000 fans. Pretty amazing. So this game is rich in history. So from 1974 all the way till 2011, the game was always played at the University of Pacific. And we always had a following, So in 2012, the Lions committee had to make a decision, and that was where we're going to play the game. Well, the clubs from the south of our district, had never had a game in their hometowns, or close to where they come from, right? So they probably lobbied to say, hey, you know what, let's bring the game down south. Well, they did bring the game down south. So the game actually went to Modesto for 2 years, Modesto JC, then it went to Merced JC, and then it ended up going for the last 4 years to Tracy High School. Wayne Schneider Stadium at Tracy High School.
Right.
He's got a stadium named after him. So anyway, a tremendous amount of history there. But we were just simply, we went down south. We gave, we did the best that we possibly could. And the game, we were able to keep the game alive, but it wasn't thriving like we thought it should, So after last year's results, we began planning, when we were planning last year's game, we did discuss the opportunity that we may, maybe want to seek a new venue to be able to really move the game forward. And so we lost on a 7-3 vote last year, and so we had the game at Tracy. But this year, we planted a seed. So this year, when we were planning our game, they gave serious consideration. The community gave a serious it was just time. It was time for us to move the game. So anyway, the board basically on a unanimous decision decided to bring the game back home. And so, where do we end up taking the game?
Lincoln High School.
Your
my-
home turf.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be exciting playing my last game at my home school.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be excited for it.
Oh yes, and we're all going to be excited for it. And there's a lot of themes to the game which we'll talk about later. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with you, Coach. Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to start off with Coach, and I'm going to ask Coach, a little bit, tell us a little bit about yourself, your football background, and how you got to this point as far as being
geez.
selected to being a head coach in the Lions All-Star football game.
Yeah, well, I'm originally from northern Ohio, but right between Toledo and Cleveland on Lake Erie, in a little town called Sandusky. Might be famous from Tommy Boy movie, but that's not where they filmed the movie. But I grew up Ohio, Arizona, Minnesota. Finished up in Minneapolis. Went to a small Division II school in Southwest Minnesota, Marshall, Minnesota, home of Schwann's ice cream, the yellow
Oh,
trucks.
Schwann's. I love that ice cream.
I worked in the freezer there for a day. That was
you
about
go.
all I needed. That's all I needed. Anyway, my wife and I decided to come back to California. We were here in 01, 02, where I taught school in Manteca. Really fell in love with the area. Went back to Minnesota, had a couple more kids, stayed there for a while, and then we moved out here in 2011 once the housing market got more reasonable for two teachers.
There you go.
And so we moved out here and been here ever since. Had a couple years stint at Central Valley High School in series, and then was fortunate enough to start the brand new program at Mountain House High School, which is just 6 miles from Tracy, basically, right off the freeway. We started in 2014 with a small sophomore freshman team and went 5-5. Everyone thought we were not going to win a game, so that was
Really?
cool. Yeah. And then, the last 4 years of varsity, we went from 0-10, 1-9, 4-6, and last year we were 10-2, share of the Western Athletic Conference title. And then I got asked to coach this game by Don Norton, who's been a tremendous help for me. He's called me up. He said, "Coach, we recognize what you've done at Mountain House, and
Yes.
how would you like to be the coach for the North All-Star team?" And I didn't even ask my assistants. I said, "This is something I want to do."
Right.
And so I jumped at the chance. It kind of validates you as a coach, makes you feel good that you're being recognized for doing something anyway, even though the kids do all the work. So yeah, Don called me and I jumped at it, and my coaches were like all on board as soon as they found out. Super pumped. So we're looking forward to it. The process has been pretty long and hard and all that.
It's
but
work. It's work.
yeah,
It's a real commitment, huh?
It is. It's a lot of hours organizing, getting kids information, and trying to keep them live on the game and feeling
Right.
good about it, and making sure no one's dropping out and all that stuff. But again, Don and his team and all the Lions, they've just been big support with the nuts and bolts of it. So I'm
Right.
looking forward to couple days really coming up. We'd be go to UOP and get after it.
Right.
Have some
Good.
fun.
Well, I just want to say congratulations, because it is truly an honor.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the history of the coaches that have coached in this game, it's tremendous, tremendous. As a matter of fact, just to throw you a quick footnote, because you might end up there one day, but Coach Dwayne Izzetti, he coached at St. Mary's High School. He coached in the game in 1976 and 1977. Coach Dwayne Izzetti, a very successful businessman and supporter of the nonprofits in our community, is our Stocktonian of the Year this year.
Oh wow.
So the people that have played and touched in this game, there's tremendous success stories. I mean, one after another. So
Right.
congratulations.
Thanks.
For you being able to. I'm sure that this is not going to be the only one that you coach in.
Yeah, no. I told Don I know it's work, but
Yeah.
it's such an honor to give back, and
Yes.
especially to coach the area's best.
Yes.
That's a lot of fun,
That
and that's
is a lot of
exciting.
fun.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a fun time.
Right on. And then we got a player here.
Hi.
And the player's perspective is always interesting to hear, Grant, tell us about you, your high school, how you kind of came into football, just kind of bring us up to date, and now becoming, playing in a prestigious game like the Lions All-Star football game.
Well, I grew up in Stockton, and football is a big thing to me. I grew up playing it. It really helped me in general. I had a speech problem, when I was younger, from kindergarten to 6th grade. So my dad and my parents came up with this idea. I'm either going to play quarterback or linebacker.
Right.
So I had to speak, had to talk.
Right.
And when I put on the helmet, it was like a Superman cape. It just, everything went away.
Right.
And it got to me. It just,
Yeah.
it got to, like, how do you say it?
Give you confidence?
Yeah,
or?
it just gave me confidence. It just built me up.
Yes.
And so I just stuck with it. And my dad and I have worked on it together for 10 years, 11 years.
So what age did you start playing?
5.
Really?
5 and 6, yes, working on it.
Wow.
Flag football. That was a big thing. And I love the sport. It built me up for who I am today. So,
Yeah.
And Lincoln, moving back from Texas. So my 7th grade year, we moved to Texas.
Oh, okay, you did.
And I lived there for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And then right before my freshman year, I moved back with my grandparents. And my family was still in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted my older sister to finish high school there. So they weren't going to be back until another year.
Right.
So it was a different environment. But it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of not really on my own in a sense, but away from family, like your whole family. It's kind of different,
Right,
especially
yeah.
when you're a freshman.
Right.
But freshman year was good. Sophomore year was amazing. Junior wasn't as good as what I expected, but
Right.
my senior year wasn't as great as great.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a lot of issues with players and coaches.
Mm-hmm. There's a transition going on a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just coaches moving or deciding to resign. It was tough for us to bounce back from it.
Right.
So it was difficult,
Mm-hmm.
but it's who I am today. It built me up, and
Right.
I'm excited for what football has for me later on.
Yes, wonderful. Well, congratulations,
Thank
man.
you.
And like I say, it's an honor to, not only coach, but to play in the game is absolutely phenomenal. And you're going to have what I call an experience of a lifetime, man.
I'm excited.
And I'm excited for both of you. And then we have a parent. And Julie, when he was growing up and he was playing football, did you ever envision that he's going to take it this serious and move on to college and do some great things?
Well, you know what? Grant has always been more on the serious side, I think, of
Yeah.
things. But seeing Grant basically blossom through football,
Right.
it was a wonderful experience. I think there was a time he had a wonderful speech teacher that was at Mabel Barron's school
Right.
that Grant went to.
Uh-huh.
And she was amazing. We sat when he was in the 6th grade and listened to where he had
Over the
started and where he had ended. And I
Right.
think his dad, myself, and we were all in tears almost.
Right.
But we knew that a lot of that came from football.
Yes.
It came from giving Grant something that he felt so good about.
Right.
Something that really helped him develop into a very good young man.
Right.
And I think that sports do that.
Yes.
I think in so many cases it comes from one of those things where you want your boys, as much as football is so important, it's also important to his dad and I that he learned to be a good young man, which will take him on to be a good man, a
Right.
good
Yeah.
friend, a good father,
Right.
all of those type of things, a good
Yes.
son.
Yes.
And I think when you have good coaches and people that bring that together and you have that foundation, that's what you get. So it is an honor. It's an honor to watch him. I'm proud to be his mom. I'm proud
Yes.
of everything that
Should be.
he has accomplished.
And your feelings are just like the rest of the players. Just recently, I went and delivered some tickets to grandparents of Jose Ceja, and he is a defensive back, played for Manteca, kind of shorter in stature, but really quick, and I guess a pretty good hitter. And I was able to deliver some tickets to their grandparents, and the grandparents felt the same way. That this was just a great honor, a great opportunity, and they were so proud of their grandson. A term that we've been using, we have a Facebook page to promote our game. It's called District 4A1 Lions All-Star Football Game. So like our page and share it. One of the terms that I like to use, knowing the history of this game, is building men of character. It's amazing when you begin to look at all the players that have played in this game. Many have gone on to play in the NFL from our local area, but many of them are just successful people, in all walks of life. And so I think that a big part of this game is making sure that you're acknowledged for for what you've done on the football field, but also to give you the confidence that you can use those all those traits in whatever you pursue, because we want to see you, each player, succeed, Hey, let me ask you this, Coach. One of the things that you had to do was you had to pick a roster, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand, when you take on a coaching responsibility like you've taken on, there are some tough decisions that you have to make, man. Tell us about how that process went.
Oh man! So basically, a form is sent out to all the north and south teams, and the coaches nominate players. They're supposed to check in with their players to see, hey, if I nominate you for this game and you get selected, will you be there? Will you buy in right away? So that helps the coaches out there are really our first screening process.
Right.
And then they email us all the forms, and you got their height, their weight, their first position, second position. All their contact info, except we need to put on the form their email address. I got a couple tips for us.
Oh,
for
there you
next
go.
year.
There you go. Hey, at the end of the year, we always have a final wrap up.
Yeah. So anyway, I get a list of all my schools, and then there were some schools who didn't nominate their players, and I know they got players, so then I reach out, I contact the coaches, and they're like, hey, I talked to my guys, they don't want to play.
Yeah.
They're done with football. I'm like, okay, that's they would have made the team probably,
Yeah.
and I didn't hear from a couple of teams, so I don't know what happened.
Right.
So I gather all of that information, and it's over 70 kids, and
Right.
you got to whittle it down to 30.
Right.
Now you're looking at first team all conference guys, district players of the year, conference players of the year.
Right.
So you have to kind of try to make a roster out of that and justify it. So the coaches also send us game film.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're looking at number 6 from Antigua, and we're watching him play and just evaluating them, what we see on the field, and then you got to figure out how are you going to make your team? What are you going to try to accomplish? You have to have so many linemen. So many receivers.
Right.
Is he a two-way player? Is he only offensive player? So we chose to go with guys who can play both ways,
Right.
Especially at the line position, and just kind of work with that. So we got 7-8 linemen. We got a nice tight end. We got several guys that can play receiver or defensive back, and then we got some guys that are specialists like Gonzalez from Chavez and this guy here. So
you got 3 quarterbacks, am I right?
you won't see him on the defensive side. I know that.
It's okay. He's an offensive guy.
Yeah, right. So so then after all that, we brought in our staff. I actually asked a couple of people I know in the college ranks to evaluate some of these guys for us, to kind of who would they choose, just to kind of get more eyes on it, so we're really validating it. And it's not like I'm home alone watching all the film and picking it myself. This is a big process.
Right.
So and then we picked them. The best part of it was calling the kids who made it. And
Yes.
I felt like I was on the draft board,
Yes.
like I'm big time NFL. I'm calling this guy up. Hey, are you ready to play in the Lions All-Star game? And they're like, yes, sir, ready to go. And
So your overwhelming response from the kids that you called were very positive?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I mean, we only had one kid who couldn't make the All-Star game because of a family member's graduating college.
Right.
So, and then I got a couple guys waiting in reserves in case someone drops out or something happens, they can't make it. So hopefully the team I chose stays together.
Yeah.
It's a new age in digital media and
Right.
stuff. So I got the kids on a group me text. We're trying to keep them focused on, pumping them up for school and graduation. And then also, hey, what kind of music do we want to listen to at practice? What kind of, and then we just try to get them talking about the game so that the excitement's still there.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm letting them know that there's we're trying to pack the stands, like get everybody to the field, to get everybody to the stadium, so you can play under this large crowd.
Right.
You know, Saturday Night Lights, the
That's
college
right.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys are going to college to play too, and a lot of
Yes,
guys, some of the
a lot of
guys,
them are,
this is their last hurrah.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, how many of you guys are going to have a chance to say your last game of your senior year you won?
Yeah.
You know, there's only one state championship, but you can say you won your last game as a senior. That's pretty cool.
And the other thing too is that, you know, I would say probably 93% of these players, it'll probably be the only all-star team that they ever make.
Yeah.
And this is coming out of high school.
Yeah.
So, to me, that is a huge, accomplishment.
It is.
Because it just doesn't happen that often, so that's tremendous. Hey, tell me, when Coach, he called you, right? Or maybe one of the other coaches, when you got the phone call that you had made the Lions All-Star football team, tell me about how you were feeling and, what was going on with you.
Well, at first, I didn't even know. So my coach nominated, and after looking at our season, I was like, maybe I'll get picked. I was like, I'll be super excited if I get picked. And one night, a random call. I didn't even know it was Coach Mack at first.
Oh, really?
And so I answered it, and he says, "Hey, Grant, how you doing?" I said, "Oh, hi. How are you doing?" And then he's like, "Oh, this is Coach Mack. I was wondering if you're willing to play in the All-Star game." I was like, I was surprised. I was like,
Really?
"Are you serious?"
Really?
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, we really liked your film and everything. We want you to play." And I said, "Yes, sir." And I was super excited, jumping up and down. So
That's almost verbatim.
Yeah.
Pretty,
Pretty
he
much.
remembers it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
yeah.
That's great. Good memories,
It
huh?
was a very exciting night. I remember him coming in and he's like, "You guys, I made
Yeah.
it!"
Yeah.
He was thrilled.
I was thrilled.
Let me ask you this. Did you know about the Lions All-Star football game? And when did you kind of know that this might be an opportunity for you to participate in if you got there?
Well, my head coach, kind of gave me like a head notice that he was going to nominate me with 6 other players at the time, and I was like, okay, I'm willing to play this. I knew about it last year when I heard about it, but
Right.
I really didn't look into it. But right when he nominated to me, I was like, I want to play in this.
Yeah.
I really wanted to play in this. So.
Because one of the things that always interests me is that a lot of the kids don't know a lot about the game. And I know that because there's so many activities now, there's so many activities for the kids to be involved in. Back in 74 and 75, 76, that was one big venue that didn't have a lot of competition, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so now with all the activities that kids are involved with, it kind of loses a little bit of that. And one of the things that, you as an alumni and, and as a coach as well, is to let these young players know, and to get them to come to this game. Because what we want these little guys to see, you were playing at 5 and 6 years old,
Yes.
and now, these youth football teams and cheer teams are thriving.
They're getting bigger every year.
Every year they get bigger and bigger, and that's the audience that needs to see this all-star
Right.
game, because now the cheerleader
They picture it.
is picturing your daughter,
Yes.
who's going to be cheerleading in the game for
Absolutely.
Lincoln High School.
Yes, it's very exciting. So we have a varsity cheerleader and my son playing. So it's
Both.
really exciting for
On
us.
the field, on the gridiron.
Yes, she never had an opportunity to cheer for him before because of being on JV. Their
Yeah,
age difference,
2
so
years
it's really
apart.
exciting to
Oh,
be able
that's
to have
wonderful.
both of them there and her be able to cheer for their team.
Yeah,
so we're
yeah,
excited
yeah.
about it.
So we made a big push this year to get the youth involved. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we're offering this year is for all the youth football teams, if they wear their jersey,
Yeah.
they get free entrance. And just bring a parent with
That's
you is
very
all we're
smart.
asking. So what we want to do is, I want to see, what our committee wants to see is a lot of youth at the game,
Yeah.
so that they can see you play on the field and start to think, the Lions All-Star football game, I'm coming back next year because I want to see this kind of competition. and it's just like the cheer, the youth cheers that we will have out there. We want them to see the cheerleaders, and begin to think, when I get into high school, I want to be on the field like them, So it's just bringing the message that this game, okay, should be in your mind well before someone, you need to experience it. As a matter of fact, there was a player from Tracy. I'm trying to remember. From last year. He had Kristen Reyes. I believe he was a linebacker from Tracy High. He played in last year's game, and he had said that he had gone to the games as a youth. He had gone to the Lions All-Star football. He knew about this Lions All-Star football game. Right. So when he became, because you can only play as a senior. Yes. So when his time came, he had it in his mind, I want to be in this game. It's not like somebody called you and told you, you know what, we have this game for you to participate in. This guy had it in his mind, I want to play in that game. And we want the youth, the upcoming youth to be able to see that, coming, in their future. But that's we've been working really hard on that. So you had briefly talked about your communication with your players and how are you going to give us some ideas of how do you build a team? Hey, within 5.5 days, they check in on Monday, and the game's played Saturday night. What kind of ideas do you have to kind of make this all gel?
Yeah, we were communicating right away. That was the big thing. So, I told guys to post their highlight film so they can see who they're playing with and things like that. And they've even tried to get together on their own, just getting in parks and throwing the ball around and building that camaraderie early on. And just bringing up things that they're all interested in. I might not be interested in it, but if I can get them talking about it, then that's going to help build all that that close group. But throughout the week, we're all about having some fun, but we have a goal in mind. We want to win the game back at Lincoln High. We want to win it. We haven't won it for a while.
Right.
6 years.
6 years. Yeah. So that's been in our minds. We've talked about that, but we don't want to focus solely on just a victory. We want to enjoy the process as we go through it. So we have a couple things planned throughout the week that will break away from the football part of it and just kind of gel together as a team. Yes. I'm looking into some things that we can do to build some team bonding type stuff, but nothing's set in stone yet. So it's just a lot of when you're in the dorm room with 30 other high school athletes. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things going on, some shenanigans or whatever. But we're going to keep them level-headed, but at the same time have that loose feel. So when they look back at this, they're like, "Man, that was just the time of my life in high school." So they can and hopefully cap off their season, like I said, with a victory. That'd be really nice. It'd be really good for the guys. A lot of guys are from Stockton too, so at least in the area because we're the north side. So them winning the game and defending a Stockton field, that means a lot to them.
Yes,
so we're pretty serious about what we're trying to accomplish. And I've maybe shot one across the bow to poke and prod the South team a little bit because I want it to be a competitive game, and I want to put on a good show for everybody. But I've jabbed at them a little bit because I want it to be in good spirit and competitive and have fun with it.
Right. And I talked to an official that had participated in the game many years, and I told him, I told him what we were doing, and he goes, "Yeah, Roy," he goes, "the one thing that you got to bring back is you got to bring back the rivalry. There's got to be a sense of rivalry here, north, south, you know." And so I it coming back home, gives us an opportunity for the North because the South has ruled lately last 6 years 5-0-1. Yeah. But we can and that's why you have that sense of rivalry because you want to get it back.
Yeah, and I've actually had coaches I have not met who have emailed me and called me and said, "Hey, congratulations on coaching this team." He's like, "What are you going to do?
Right.
What offense you're going to run?"
Yeah.
giving me tips. You know,
Yes.
like, they're usually very athletic and fast,
Yes.
a little bit more so than us. And I'm like, I don't see it, but
Yeah.
they're like, slow it down, do this, do that,
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
speed it
yeah,
up.
yeah.
So they're giving me all kinds of
Yeah.
tips. They want it just
They
as
want
bad
it
as
just as bad.
Yeah,
and that,
it's been
and that,
funny. It's been
that,
funny.
and that feels good. Have you sensed a little bit of rivalry, yet, or you
Well-
probably when you get together with the guys, when you check in?
Probably. I work out with the South quarterback, Jonah.
Oh, do you? Okay,
with
okay.
Coach Pinelli.
And he's very good.
He's
Oh,
good.
okay.
And so we're always competing every weekend.
Right.
So I already have that sense where we're going to compete on the field.
Right,
So I'm excited for that. I'm excited what he has to show.
right.
So it's just,
That's
we have to play
exciting
our
for-
game.
Yeah.
For Coach Pinelli to have two
Two
of his
quarterbacks.
quarterbacks
Yeah,
that he
in the
works
game,
with.
huh?
Both of them,
Absolutely.
yes.
Wonderful, great job.
Yeah,
Great
I
job.
actually, when the South roster was posted, I think it was in the Manteca Bulletin or something.
Uh-huh.
I posted it to the guys, and they started doing what kids do, and they dig into the
Searching
social
it up,
media,
huh?
a little
Search-
trolling, looking
Yeah.
at.
Oh, yeah.
So then they're like, "Oh, I
Search
played with
players
this kid in 8th grade, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to
Yeah.
tackle him or whatever." So that's one of those things,
Yeah.
get that energy going.
Exactly.
Hey, how's the vibe been? Because we're holding this, at the best venue, man. I'm telling you right now, CIF playoffs, the whole thing. I mean, A.G. Spano Stadium at
Yes.
Lincoln High School is
It's
the
amazing.
place to have a football game. And you got to play on that field every week, know. Tell us the vibe at Lincoln High. You have a tremendous football community. Are they all in on this game? Do you expect to see them there?
Yes, I hope so. A lot of kids around school have been talking about it, how they're going to show up, and I'm excited for that. Hopefully we get a bigger crowd with the parents and stuff showing up as well. But I feel like Lincoln's going to be in on it, especially since it's coming back to Lincoln.
Yeah.
And so we have a couple players playing in it, so there's going to be some people.
Have you talked to the other players? You got Blue and you
Yeah,
got
and
Jihadi.
Yes,
What does Jihadi play?
Linebacker.
Oh, he's a linebacker.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So yeah, part of the process too is so his coach nominated 6 guys, and they could all play.
Yeah.
And then you're trying
You
to
have
get
to-
some of
yeah.
those guys from every school, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, I hear
And
ya.
some guys they nominated like 10 people, and
Right.
I'm watching film, and I'm like, wait, why didn't they nominate that guy?
That
He's
guy.
really good.
Yeah, really.
But it goes back to we left a lot of good players off the. I honestly wish it was a 35-man roster.
Right.
You'd have to spend a little more money.
You would have to spend a little more money on the room and board and eating because they eat like.
I know. I heard.
That's
Yeah.
true, right? I've had some of those linebackers at my house with Grant, and I tell you,
Linemen,
they
yeah.
can, and linemen,
Blue.
they can eat.
Yeah, I saw Blue the other day. I went over to Lincoln High School and I saw him at the banquet,
Yes.
and I thought I recognized him, and he said his name to someone, and then I went up to him and
You can't miss
and
Blue.
talked
Oh,
to him.
Blue,
And I
Blue's
talked
my
to
best
him.
friend.
Yeah. Are they a little excited about playing the
Blue's
game?
excited for it. He's been excited. He was hoping that he was getting nominated. His older brother got nominated.
Right, last year, yes.
So
Oh,
he
cool.
was
His brother
he was
played in it.
looking forward to playing in it too. So
Oh, that's cool. I didn't
Hey,
know that.
tell me about this, man, because this is truly an experience of a lifetime. And he talked a little bit about it, checking into camp. You're going to check into camp, the week before the game on Monday. I think you guys checking in at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. You're coming together, okay?
Yes.
This is an interesting dynamic because you're going to play, with all the guys you used to play
playing
against,
yeah.
used to compete with. So there's that level of of diversity, and then you have another level, and the other level is where these kids are coming from, because many of these kids have not had the urban experience like playing in Stockton, and the community of Stockton. Many of them are from the foothills, great ball players
Yeah.
from all over, as far as Sonora, down all the way down to Los Banos, that dynamic in itself, because when they come into camp and they're only maybe one from a certain team that's coming in, he may not have a lot of friends, to lean on.
Exactly.
So that that whole dynamic of what happens when you guys first come together, what do you anticipate?
I anticipate us actually coming together because, like Coach Max said, we created a group chat just to get it starting, like
Right,
to
that was
create
a smart thing.
like a feeling for each other,
Right.
just to know what we like and stuff. And it's going to be competitive
Yes.
since it's guys that we played with
Right.
all through high school and
Yeah.
even maybe through Pop Warner.
Right.
But at the end, we're going to still be friends. We're
Right.
still going to go in and hang out.
Mhm.
It's different. It's not like you want to kill each other. We're
Right.
going to be super competitive on the practice field, of
Right,
course.
right,
and then
right.
when it comes game time, we're going to even be better because we're preparing ourselves. How would you say? Preparing ourselves for the South team. So
Right. Right.
I'm excited for it.
Got a common goal.
Yeah, you
Yes.
got a common
Common
goal.
goal.
And
in
I
the
think
end, we
there's
gotta come to-
respect, don't you? I think that you
Oh.
earn respect
Yes.
from
Big time.
other players that are
Mhm.
around, so it gives you an opportunity
Mhm.
to play with other players that you might say, man, he was really good.
Mhm.
Man, he is on this team, and it kind of brings you together and say,
Yes.
yeah, I remember when I got to play with him.
There was an interesting interview that we did last year that we captured on video, and we asked. It was a player from. He was from. I think he was from McNair, and they were in their dorms. You know, they're just hanging out in their dorms. You know, just chilling, right? And so anyway, we put the video on, and we asked him this simple question. It was, "Hey, you're 3 days into this camp. What do you think?" He goes, "Hey." He goes, 3 days into this camp, I've gelled with these guys more than I've gelled with my football team for 4 years. And I gotta think that the level of competition, the quality of athlete, you know, it brings these guys together.
Yeah.
They all
so
want
so
something.
sometimes that helps to, because they're all good and they're all
Right.
all-stars. And then all you got to do is just kind of glue that team
Yeah.
together.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, with 30 guys too, you know, you got, everybody's gonna want to touch the ball every time, and
Right.
there's gonna be a lot of competition there. But that goes to say that when you, this is why college coaches used to take their teams out away into a camp, old school times, and do all those team bonding things. Because when you spend time with guys that close, you're destined to gel. You're destined to get tighter as friendships and things like that. So. That's a process that it's gonna be an eye opener for a lot of guys. It's gonna be their first taste of what dorm living,
Exactly.
first time on a college campus, So it's gonna be an eye opener for them, and I'm excited for them to have. I had that already in my career, and now they get to enjoy it. So just make sure that they behave a little bit, and we're good to go.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And then so this is going to be your first experience
Yes.
living in the dorms.
Yeah, I think going back to it, my freshman year, it's kind of like being away
because
from my family.
yeah,
and
it
stuff.
gave you a little bit of an
can't-
idea.
That's what I thought it as. Is just it's kind of like a dorm experience,
Right.
But I kind of have family there.
Right.
It wasn't with my grandparents. It was with a close relative or a close
Right.
friend with my parents.
Oh,
So,
okay, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, we call them our grandparents. So,
Yeah. That works.
so it was different.
Yeah.
It was different, but it was fun. A lot of fun. So I'm excited for it.
I got to tell you this. I got to say that the alumni, you don't realize the value and the importance of this game until you talk to an alumni, until you talk to somebody who's played in this game. And so one of the things that we've done is we've reached out to the alumni. Of course, one of our game themes this year is Alumni Night. And so we have it's about 3,000 players and coaches have participated in the Lions All-Star football game since 1974. So it's a huge audience.
Yeah.
And so as we really made, and that was part of our marketing effort, is to reach out to the alumni, we have heard nothing but great experiences from them. As a matter of fact, I mean, they're all over the country. They're finding out, about this game, coming
Yes.
back home to Stockton. And they're posting, man, I wish I could be there, man. I'd love to be in that game. That game meant so much to me, you know what I mean? And so not only are you playing for yourselves, believe me, you're playing for the alumni. You're playing for all those North teams that, the North holds the overall record, the winning record. But you're playing for all those teams. So there's really a sense of great pride. And the alumni have really stepped up. We will have a Chase Chevrolet alumni tent at the game. And all the alumni will be able to go into this one area where they can all come together, you know what I mean,
that's
as
awesome.
alumni.
Yeah.
And share stories. Oh,
yeah.
you played in '74.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
played in '76.
Yeah,
You
right.
know.
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to create, and you're going to be an alumni next year. You know what I mean? So you're going to be invited to come and participate as alumni next year.
right.
But what we have to do is we have to develop that, because that is a strong piece of what this game is all about. You know, the true meaning to the alumni participating in this game, and the experience that you're going to have living in the dorms with these guys. You know, you're gonna meet some players. You're gonna make some friends for a lifetime, and that's one of the things that's going to be really cool. Any ice-breaking things that you're going to do during those 5 days that you can't share right now? Huh?
No, can't share.
I've got one. I've got one coming, man. I've got one coming. One of my community friends that does some great things out in the community. His name is Demar. And he called me one day and he goes, "Hey, Roy," he goes, "You know, we got to break this team down. We got to break this team down. We got to have them come together." You know what I mean? He tells me this, "Roy, I'm bringing 1,000 water balloons."
Oh, nice.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Right.
500 on one side, 500 on the other side,
Wow.
and we can split them up between offense and defense and let them go at it, huh?
I love
So
it.
one day
Got
we're gonna set that up for you, maybe after practice one day or something like that, and so that you guys can have some fun. Because the closer that this team, you always hear that word, chemistry, huh?
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
I was lousy in chemistry, but man, what the chemistry works when a team is all focused and comes together
They have
and
one goal.
one goal, and that's to win a
Yeah.
game. Yeah, that's to win a game. Let's see what else we have here. We covered a lot of territory today. Well, let me just tell you a couple. I'll tell the audience maybe just a couple of things, because we covered a lot of things that you can expect at the game. One of the things that you're going to be able to expect at the game is when you walk into the venue, you're going to know this is sacred ground. A.G. Spanos Stadium. A.G. Spanos, of course, passed away this last year. He was the owner of the San Diego Chargers. He's a successful real estate developer. You know, the A.G. Spanos companies have given a lot back to the community. And so in a lot of ways, this homecoming game couldn't have happened at a better time, because it's going to be a tribute to this wonderful venue that he left behind. And I like to put it this way. I think that he built that stadium for you to be proud of,
Yes.
to
very
compete
much so.
in, you know, and to build men and women of character. I really believe that's why he left that stadium behind, you know, and that's how it's going to be used. And so we're going to feel his spirit, because he loved football. We're going to feel his spirit at the game. And so we've got a great venue. We're going to have some things, you know, we talked about the alumni, you know, involvement, you know, the alumni tent. And that's going to be a really cool experience, because a lot of the people that come to the games, you know, they're going to see these guys that played in the game, you know, and they're going to remember them, you know. So it's going to be a great tribute to the alumni as well. And you're going to see the youth at the game. And I want to see, you know, what's really cool is to see all of them wearing their uniforms, you know.
That'd be cool.
You know, all of them wearing, and then the cheer. We're trying to get as many cheer teams as we can. They're kind of in off season right now, but we're going to be able to have a couple of nice cheer teams as well. We have a wonderful, like I said, we have a community dance group that's going to play right before your introductions, and they're called U-Jam. And it's a community-based dance group, okay? And it's all ages, you know? So you might have a 15-year-old dancing next to a 55-year-old, you know what I mean? But I'll tell you what, I saw them, they've performed at UOP basketball games in the past. They're about 30 to 40 members deep. And I saw them at the San Joaquin Asparagus Festival, and they were on stage. And talk about high energy. I'm talking about high energy, man. I mean, the music was perfect. You know what I mean? It's dance music. It's get ready for game time type music. And they put on a show. And it's going to be right before you guys go onto the field, you know, so it's going to be a good segue into the game, you know. Yeah. And then what we're going to do is we're going to in between like quarters we're gonna because we're gonna have a lot of alumni there, so we're going to introduce the alumni, you know, acknowledging that they've come to the game. So that's going to be a cool thing. And then we have one of the best bands for our halftime show. We, of course, for our halftime show, your daughter's going to be performing with the Lincoln.
Is Lincoln's band?
No,
also
no, no.
playing
It's
there?
no. Your
Lincoln
daughter's
High School.
performing for
Oh, yes.
Lincoln High School
Yes,
cheer,
their
huh?
varsity cheerleading team.
Yeah. So we'll be able.
Very
They're going to have. They're going to have a 5-minute show. Where we'll start off at halftime with their 5-minute show, and then we will follow with. The Chavez Band. And they will be representing Stockton Unified School District, an absolutely outstanding band program. And so it's nice to have, this has really been a collaboration of our entire community, because the school districts are all, they're all working together to make this game a success.
Exactly.
And so we're going to have a great halftime show. And then at the end, there's some really, really important trophies that will be given away to our most valuable player, most inspirational on both teams. We'll have the most valuable offensive player and defensive player of the game, and on those trophies they'll be named after those legendary coaches that actually started this game. Yeah. So, and that's the first year that we've actually attached a name to the award. So we're definitely looking forward to that. So it's going to be an exciting time. The game is actually on June 15th, Saturday night, June 15th, at A.G. Spano Stadium at Lincoln High School. We will open the gates at 5:30, and the pregame festivities will begin at 6. If you're coming out to visit the alumni tent will be set up from 6 to 7 p.m., so we'll have the alumni in the tent at that time, so you can say hello to the alumni that have played in the game. And then we'll have approximately, it's going to be right around 7 o'clock, a 7 o'clock kickoff. So we've got a great event planned, and from all indications, we have a chance to pack the house.
Yeah, let's do it.
We have a chance for you to play in front of a lot of people, and we're hoping to hit a grand slam, using a baseball term, a grand slam on this. How are we doing on time?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay. So anyway, so mark your calendar, save your date. General admission is $10, okay? Now, we are going to have, some secure parking, where you don't have to park on the street unless you want to. But it's $5 to park in the Lincoln High parking. And that's secure parking. And we may have an additional parking lot available. I can't advertise it yet, but if we do, we may have an additional parking lot available, and it's going to be $5 to park your car, or else you can park for free on the street. So that's not going to be an issue there. So we're looking forward to everyone coming out to the game and supporting this game full of history, tradition, and success stories. So what I'm going to do is maybe leaving on a note. Any final thoughts? Before game or.
Yeah, just everybody needs to get on the Facebook page and like it and share it so the word gets out to everybody. I encourage all the high school coaches to let their youth teams know that this event's taking place. We keep talking about building men and women of character and stuff. I always use an old coaching phrase I learned was be a keeper of the game. Leave it better than you found it, and that's certainly what you guys are doing. That's my intention. That'll be the players' intention. Leave it better than you found it, and if we continue to do that, this thing will just get bigger and bigger and back to the prestigious old days.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of excitement.
Well, we're excited about having you coach the North team, and we're also excited about you playing. So how about some final comments from you, man? How you feeling?
I feel great. I'm just excited to play. I'm just excited for that week to come, to gel with the players, have that whole fun week, just interacting, and then game time.
Yeah. Good. And you as a parent, how's your perspective of this upcoming game?
We are really excited, and I just wanted to say thank you to you and to you as well, and all the coaches that are involved.
Yes.
My husband and I, James Stevenson, we have talked over and over about this, how great that this is, and it brings community together. And Stockton
Yeah.
is really in dire need of that.
Yes.
Of bringing people together for a good cause.
Yes.
And making the news for wonderful things instead of negative things. And
Exactly.
so this is such a positive, and we're really excited for Grant to be a part of it, and looking forward to it.
And this is really about it's about the youth. You know, we're highlighting and showcasing, you know, our outstanding youth. You know, and it's about really it's about our community too in a lot of ways. You know, because we need to support the youth. I mean, these guys have put in the work. You know, to become, you know. You have put in the work, all that made. Remember, he started with 70 players. He got down to 30. Those were some tough decisions. But you were selected to play on this team, and that is an honor, you know. And I'd like to say this is that you now, every player that made this team, now etches their names in the Lions history books as all-stars. Because if you go onto our website, you'll see every single team on there, and you'll see your name on there, and you were an all-star during that period. So anyway, we as a community, as a business community, as a school, as the many school districts that are involved in this, we are totally excited about Homecoming 2019, and we want to pack the house. Give me 4,000. I'm looking for 4,000. Can we do 4,000? Stockton, can you step up and do 4,000? Can we get 4,000 in Lincoln High School for an absolutely historic game? I think we can. So anyway, let's see you at the game. We'll see you at the game, huh?